name is Jimmy. Welcome to today's lesson. We're going through our lab 2 and particularly exercise 3. So before we tackle any Python problems, first we need to read the questions and understand what's the requirement. So assume that the argument L is a list of integers. So now we know that we're dealing with a list of integers. And for as long as the list has at least 2 elements, and the first and last elements of the list are equal, pop those elements. So now we understand that the question is asking us to check for the beginning element and the end element, and if they're equal, we pop them out. And to as long as there's at least 2 elements in the list, we carry out this operation. So we have 2 conditions, and when we see pop out those items, they're based on conditions, so we cannot use a for loop, and the other loop will be a while loop, so a while loop on conditions. That's what we when we see this kind of problems, that's the first thought that we should have. And now the second most important thing is that we should go through the test cases and see what's the expected output. So for the empty list, it will output an empty list. That's very obvious. And then for 10 numbers, so 10 zeros in a list, it will output an empty list as well. And that's quite intuitive because you are popping out 2 items at a time, right? So for any, not even just 10, so any even numbers, if they're all equal, eventually you will pop all of them out and you end up with the empty list. And the next one, we have 7 integers of 6, and we leave with 1 6 because same idea, we pop out 2 at a time, and we should pop out 6 in total, so we're gonna left with 1 integer. And then for this case, because number 1 and number 4, they do not equal, so that breaks the condition immediately and we are out of the loop, and that will just return us the original list. Now this last one is more complicated, but really easy to understand. So we got first item, last item, we check it, we pop them out, second and the second last, yes, and then 2. The third item is the third last, yes, they are equal, and then the fourth, yes, they're equal, pop them out, but they are here. We have a 10 and we have a 9 here, so they are not equal. They will be kept, and we are left with this list. Okay, now that we've understand the expected output, we can go back to our codings. So today I'm actually gonna show you 2 ways of doing this problem. So the first we'll go through an more easier way, and then the second one will be more it's not that hard, but a smarter way, right? So so first of all, because we can see that we are dealing with while loop, so let's go while. What's the condition? So at least 2 elements, so we're gonna have to check the length of the L, making sure they are at least 2. And then and so there's a second condition and the first and last, so we have to check the L of 0 is equal to L of -1, which is the last element. So if the conditions are met, we pop them out, so L dot pop 0 and L dot pop -1, and we return the L. So now let's give it a go. Return, yes, pass, 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 and pass, yes. So that's one way of doing it, but the problem with using pop, can anyone tell me what could be the possible problems we can face, and what are the limitations? So with the pop operation, especially when we use pop 0, which is popping out the first item of the list. So how the lists are constructed is that they are, for example, so if I have 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Whenever we pop out the first item, it's not that we just delete it, right? What Python does is when we pop out that first item, 1, right? We have to move every single element like 2, 3, and 4 forward. So we have to move every single element forward one time. That will, waste a lot. So that will cost a lot of our compute, a lot of time, waste a lot of time to do that. And a lot of times when we're dealing with a list, we might not want to change the original, list. We might have to go back to it. And that could be the limitation. When we pop it, we're actually changing the list. So this is one of the limitations as well. So now we're going to go through a second method, which is a bit smarter and will be really helpful if you can understand it. So how, let me show you an easy example, something like that. Okay, so this method, because when we read the questions, right, it says pop out those elements. So popping has got limitations, but here's another way. Why not if we set a start and the end, pointers. This solution is called like 2 pointers solution. So first we have 0, which is the start position. Then we have end, which is length of L minus 1. Why we have -1? Because Python counts from 0 onwards. So this one, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The 6th item is actually number 5, index 5. So, instead of we modifying the list and popping out everything, we can have 2 pointers, 1 point to the start, 1 point to the end. And whenever the conditions are met, we move our start pointer inward and the end pointer inward as well. So, we're pointing towards the second element and the second last element instead of, popping out any items in the list, right? So now we have while. So, and also we have to check the condition. So as long as there's at least 2 elements, right? So for example, if we have 1, 1, yeah. So 1, 1, 1, right? When the condition is met, they are equal, we move in and we move in, right? We're moving the start point, we're moving the end point, we're now at second and third position. These 2 are equal as well. So now we have to move them in again. And now the start point actually becomes the third and the end point becomes the second. And, that's the time we know, okay, we've met all the conditions. We've went through the whole list. So we should break out of our while loop. So we will have set the condition start is less than end, right? This is the breaking, the condition we satisfy. If start becomes equal to the end or start is greater than the end, that's when we break it. So, and then we just have L of start is equal to L of end, okay? Then, like we said, we have to start plus equal to 1, so moving, and then we have end minus equal to 1, so also moving in. And so now what do we return? Because after the conditions are met, we break out this loop, we have to return the list. And the way we return list is that we just use the start, the position, and we have the end plus 1, because Python, it doesn't count the when we slice it, it doesn't include the last index, so just the one before that. So now let's see. Pass, 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 pass. There you go. So here are 2 ways we can deal with this kind of problems. And the advantage of this problem is that we don't have to modify the list. We preserve the original list and also we don't waste our time popping out items and rearranging it. So we're just basically doing like really simple additions that will, if we encounter a super big list, it will save us a lot of time. So thank you for your attention. If you have any problems, do let me know. Thank you.